here. As part of the welcome, we want 350's public 350 Wisconsin public meetings to be welcoming and supportive for all people, regardless of background or identity. Our code of conduct is being shared in the chat to provide more context. Contact the monthly meeting team if you have any questions. Because this is 350 Wisconsin's annual meeting, our format will be different than usual tonight. We will be hearing from candidates who are running for positions in the organization and having a short election. Then our co-executive directors will share an update on the past year and future plans. So for now, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Emily, who will introduce our board candidates.
Thank you. So tonight we're going to be doing our annual election. So just as a reminder, most of our board members are elected on an annual basis. The only ones who are not are the board president and our board vice president, and they run on alternating years for 2-year terms. So our current vice president, Kurt Kimber, is not up for re-election this year because he was elected last year. But this year we'll be re-electing our board president, and then of course secretary and treasurer, along with 3 at-large board positions. So we're going to start with our officers. So first we're going to have just hear a little bit from Nada, who is running for the position of board president.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Thank you all so much for having me. This past year, I think we can all agree that it's been unprecedented in a lot of ways. That word has been used a lot. But my appreciation for 350 Wisconsin has truly just exploded, seeing how much we're all up against, but how much resilience and joy that this org brings to this fight. And so I am honored to run again for the board and help lead this organization towards the better world that we are all imagining. So really honored to be here.
Thank you. And next we're going to hear from Kermit Hovey, who is running for the position of secretary.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to say I'm happy to be part of 350 Wisconsin and its predecessor, 350 Madison, since close to the beginning. But I'm not totally happy because, well, in the sense of that philosophical perspective of, are you happy because you're eating a banana split, or are you happy because you're doing the right thing? And I'm happy I'm doing the right thing, and I have to say, all too often, circumstances have served us turd splits, not banana splits. Nevertheless, we persist, and I'm happy and delighted to be part of a group that persists in the face of obstacle and opposition, challenge and opportunity to do the right thing for our world, for our climate, and for a flourishing future. Thanks.
Thank you. And then next we'll be hearing from Tanis Mathisen, who's running for treasurer.
Hello, happy to see all of you here tonight. I've been volunteering, thanks. I've been volunteering for 350 Wisconsin since 2019 in a number of different capacities. I've been on the board since 2020. And I wanted to echo what both Nada and Kermit said about the what Kermit said about the turd Sundays. It's been hard the last couple of years. But the staff, I want to give a shout out to the staff and the executive directors for their resilience and keeping our organization going. And I'm happy to be here also, and I want to be part of the board to continue the work that we've been doing and to continue the growth. I mean, we've grown a lot since the organization started and even since 2019. So I'd like to continue to be part of that. So thank you.
Thanks, Tanis. And then next we're going to hear from the candidates running for at-large positions. So we're going to start with Isaiah.
Wonderful. Can everyone hear me? Wonderful. Right up here. Awesome. Eat the mic. Really eat the mic. Jesus. Well, thank you so much. Being on the board for the past year has been an amazing experience, and you know, I know that we have a very good, as some of you might know my history, I work in government and public policy. There's a lot of people that I've talked to here in Madison and around the state, and there's a lot of momentum around protecting our air, protecting our water, and the momentum is on our side. And this next year is going to be a big year to make some real influence in policy, but it's an opportunity that we will only be able to actualize on if we are engaged and we work for it. And this is an organization that I know is going to do that work, and so I would love to continue serving with you on this board. Thanks so much.
Next, we were hoping to hear from Dana. Dana, I'm not sure if you are able to join us online. Are you here? I wasn't sure if she was able to come. All right. Dana's bio is in some of the emails that have gone out recently, so if you want to read about her, you can. And then John Greenler was not able to be here tonight, but Stephanie is going to read a statement on his behalf.
So many of you know John. He has been our executive director. He has been our board president. He really wanted to be here tonight. He's not feeling great, so he sends his sincere apologies for not making it. John has made climate justice and science his work focus for the past 20 plus years, and he hopes to serve once again on the 350 Wisconsin C3 board at this critical time when climate justice is more important than ever, and when new opportunities are arising to grow 350 Wisconsin's community and to make progress on climate at the state level. And just to say also, all of the bios of the board members were, candidates were sent out this morning in case anybody wanted to check that.
Thank you. All right. How do I move this out of the way, Stephanie? It's all right. Nope. All right, so just as a reminder, in order to vote in our elections, you need to be a 350 Wisconsin member, which means you either need to have donated at least $5 in the period between June 1st of 2025 and April 18th of 2026. It's a 45-day cutoff before the annual meeting, or have attended at least 3 monthly meetings. So we try to keep our membership definition very inclusive, understanding that people have different ways of showing up. All right, so how to vote. We are going to be collecting votes via a Google form. So you can either scan that QR code or use the tiny URL linked there. And then I think the link is also going to be dropped into the chat. If you struggle with this and you need some help, if you're online, just let Susan know in the chat. And if you're in person, just raise your hand and someone can come around and help you. You can vote for as many at-large positions as you want. There are technically no contested seats, so feel free to vote for all 3 or none of the at-large candidates and then any of the officers. Nada, did you have a question?
Yeah, this might be a dumb question, but do we as candidates vote for ourselves or no?
Yes.
Okay,
You don't have to vote for yourself, but you are allowed to vote. So
Okay.
if you don't have confidence in yourself, you don't have to vote for yourself.
Okay, good to know.
How many minutes are we giving people to fill out the very complicated ballot? Just a few? 3 or 4 minutes. All right, does anybody in person or online need help voting? Okay, we'll give you another minute or so. Okay. All right. Anybody else need more time? Okay. All right, I think we've probably got enough votes in. So I have the results pulled up on my phone here, and almost every single person was voted in unanimously. So congratulations to everybody who you just saw who got reelected.
Okay. Well, congratulations to the board members. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our new Deputy Director, Kat Klawes. We are so excited to have her join 350 Wisconsin, and her official first day is this Wednesday. So Kat, turning it over to you.
Thank you. I'm very excited to join the 350 Wisconsin team. A little bit about me. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I lived all across Wisconsin and the Midwest working on housing and climate policy for the last decade, which makes me feel old. I'm so excited to join the team because I think we're at an important moment for the state of Wisconsin on protecting our planet, our people, and our democracy. I don't have enough time to list all the things under attack right now, but I'm excited to join the team and fighting back for a better future. Thank you.
That's okay. Okay. So welcome, Kat. Thank you for being with us, and we're very excited to have you. And now we'll hear from our board president, Nada, and the co-executive directors.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I hear a little bit of an echo. Can the room just mute itself a little bit? Is that possible?
I think also if anybody else is online, please mute as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is better.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to everyone for voting tonight. Thank you to our newly elected board members for your service and commitment to 350 Wisconsin. It's really a pleasure to serve with you, and I'm looking forward to the next year of this work together for us as an organization. So before turning our presentation over to our co-executive directors, I wanted to take a minute to just revisit some of our foundational principles. Our vision, we envision a global community that protects our beautiful planet and supports the flourishing of all living beings. And our mission, we mobilize grassroots power to change hearts and minds, laws and policies, and humanity's massive systems to protect our democracy and make transformational progress toward environmental justice and solving the climate crisis. Awesome. We can then move on to our principles of change. The next slide. I don't have control. Perfect. Awesome. So as you all know, and if you're new here, we have a set of core principles that really guide our work. And especially in today's unprecedented times, these ideals really continue to be essential for bringing about the change that we would like to see in our society. Now it's more important than really ever that we all speak to not only protect our democracy from fascism and our environment from the tools of fascism, but also our most vulnerable communities. So one of those important principles is grassroots power. As we talked about in our mission, we try to mobilize people power to advance climate goals all over Wisconsin. We work to create really an inclusive and welcoming multi-generational movement where everyone's voice is heard and where everyone can participate regardless of their background, their skills, and ability. We are fortunate really to have so many passionate volunteers who bring this principle to life with their dedicated fulfillment of a lot of organizational roles, from research to fundraising to tech support, and to art. So thank you all so much to all of those who help make that principle a reality. Our second one is centering climate justice. We center all of our campaigns on climate justice, and we recognize that those who have done the least to cause the climate crisis are suffering first and worst from the impacts of climate change, and it is our responsibility to alleviate that burden. Our third principle for change is collaboration. We work in coalition at, many local, state, and regional and national levels to build the power and trust that powers our movement, and to, build those coalitions that help us be stronger and more effective. And obviously, respecting our natural systems is a core principle for change. We recognize that protecting ecosystems and considering impacts on all forms of life is integral to solving the climate crisis, right? It's not just about us as human beings. And we advocate for solutions that both draw from science and cultural knowledge, and also the wisdom, importantly, of Indigenous communities here in Wisconsin. And of course, final principle for change is visionary thinking, innovation and imagination, and really our willingness to challenge deeply held beliefs and assumptions is core to transforming our existing systems. And our work is not only about resistance, it's also building that world we deserve through joy and art and so many things that I think are really unique to this org and to this movement. So thank you all so much to all of you who help bring those principles to life. And with that, I can turn it over to Stephanie to talk a little bit about our challenges.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nada, for reminding us of our core principles and values that guide our work. As we've alluded to tonight, there's some serious challenges that our society is facing at a very difficult time in our nation's history. But there are also many reasons for hope and important opportunities to make progress on climate justice. But to start with the challenges, of course, we know that our climate is in peril and that we have no time to waste. We need deep, rapid, and sustained cuts to greenhouse gas emissions to avert the most catastrophic consequences of climate change. And yet, the administration in Washington continues to undermine climate progress in myriad ways. Through disinformation, regulatory and funding rollbacks, attacks on science, and more. And at the same time, fossil fuel companies are getting even more handouts, profiting from war and leaving everyday people dealing with higher gas prices. And at the same time, renewable energy is being targeted. We're experiencing assaults on our democracy and fundamental rights, efforts to suppress the vote, stifle peaceful protest, and curtail freedom of speech, and of course, the targeting of vulnerable communities. And we know that we can't make progress on the climate crisis without protecting our democracy and ensuring fair elections, where it's the people who have the power to decide our future. Financial uncertainty is a factor for families, businesses, and nonprofit organizations like 350 Wisconsin. So with all of this, it's really no surprise that people are feeling overwhelmed. But of course, there are so many reasons for hope and opportunities to make change. We at 350 Wisconsin believe in people power. And it's been responsible for all the major societal shifts towards justice in our history. We know that our community is resilient and held together by mutual care. We show up for each other, and we show up for the tough fights. We have seen incredible solidarity across movements, and our members are stepping up for vulnerable communities in so many ways. We're also seeing more collaboration among climate organizations than ever before. Renewable energy is now cheaper than dirty coal, oil, and gas, so the economics and market are working in our favor. And we continue to see local government leading the way, and the chances are increasing that we'll be able to make significant progress on climate and clean energy at the state level. So, how are we at 350 Wisconsin responding to these challenges and opportunities? Given this current landscape, we cannot afford to take a step back, but we also must be thoughtful, and we need to take care of ourselves. We are staying true to our mission and remaining an inclusive and welcoming space for all Wisconsinites who care about climate justice. We reevaluated our strategic plan that was created in 2024. A lot has changed since then. So we're continuing to focus our energy where it's most impactful, continuing to work at all levels, local, state, regional, and national, and assessing where we have the most leverage and capacity, while also being responsive to new threats like hyperscale data centers, which really wasn't on everyone's radar when we did our strategic plan. We're continuing to connect climate and democracy, and you'll hear a little bit more about a training we're planning to do next month on how to communicate with your networks about this really critical issue in a way that bridges divides. We are also continuing to build our base and grow our movement, as we've spoken about, showing up for our allies and taking advantage of opportunities to be present in the community whenever we can. We've consistently been invited more and more to speak, to table, to show up in different spaces, and that is also a priority for us. Some of you might remember that about a year ago, we launched a multi-year grassroots fundraising campaign that we've referred to as Rise and Resist, to continue to support our campaigns and build up our reserves. So we will be able to continue this important work together. And of course, this has been central to our organization since the beginning. Volunteers guide our work. They lead teams in partnership with staff, carry out campaigns, and public education. Our coordinating council has representation from all of our campaign and operational teams and meets monthly to ensure we are working together to build synergies and encourage mutual support for the benefit of the organization as a whole. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Emily to dig in a little bit more on our work.
Thank you. So I think, as everybody here understands, a lot of our work really overlaps. So these are all kind of artificial categories with the understanding that all of these are overlapping areas of work. But I guess just starting from the top, line 5, probably our longest running campaign to date. That is continuing. We are still in the midst of a lawsuit challenging the proposal to reroute Line 5 around the Bad River Band's reservation. So that is an ongoing legal fight. It's not done, and it'll probably be going on for a little while longer. But we remain committed to standing with our Indigenous allies and other partner orgs in protecting the Great Lakes and protecting Indigenous rights. It's also part related to our larger goal of utility and energy justice. So goal of 100% clean, affordable, and reliable energy for everyone. So making sure everybody has access to that future that we're trying to achieve, not just the wealthy, not just people in cities, but everywhere. Very closely related to that is our data center work, led by our organizing director, Brittany Reamer. So making sure that as this hyperscale data center boom comes to Wisconsin, making sure that we are protected, our lands are protected, our water is protected. We are not the ones paying the price for the massive surge in energy demand, and making sure that our communities are looked out for and that we're not just sacrificing Wisconsin's future for these big tech billionaires. Wisconsin is not for sale, our water is not for sale, and our energy is ours. Other work that we've been really involved in is renewable energy siting. So making sure that we are seeing the renewable energy come to Wisconsin that we need. So we know that solar and wind are affordable, they're reliable, and they're good solutions for Wisconsin. And so making sure we are getting out there in the community, getting ahead of some of the myths. There's a lot of disinformation out there, and making sure that the renewable energy coming to Wisconsin is coming in a way that is benefiting the local communities. Local communities are the ones benefiting from it financially, socially, and that making sure all Wisconsinites are seeing a savings in their energy costs, and then of course all of the cascading effects of not being on fossil fuels anymore. Sorry, stuff has popped up. Okay, I got it. Overarching all that is our state policy work. So of course this cross-cuts a lot of what we were just talking about. So making sure that we are holding the legislature accountable and also working with our elected officials to make sure that we're seeing the legislative and regulatory actions that we need. So making sure that these elected officials know that we're not just watching in election season, but we're gonna be working with them all year round, hold them accountable after they're elected, and reward the legislators who are doing really good work. We highlighted climate justice here because even though we have a climate justice team that meets regularly and makes sure that we are keeping this in the center of our work, but also recognizing that this is part of everything that we do. Everything that we do is intersectional with a whole lot of other justice-related issues, and making sure that we are never losing sight of the fact that the people who are most impacted by the climate crisis are the ones who are least responsible for it. And making sure that we're showing up for our allies and partners in this really critical time when there are so many other things competing for our attention. I'm sure pretty much everybody here is familiar with the Art Collective. Got Russ right here. I don't know if Diane is online, but this is hard work, everybody. It's not fun all the time, and so making sure that we are bringing an element of joy, fun, humor, and inspiration to keep our spirits up, keep us all feeling like we want to still be a part of this, and connecting with people who might otherwise just see us as all doom and gloom. So using the really creative tactics that the Art Collective is known for. And then something we've really been leaning into lately is movement building. So we know that there are a lot of people out there who want to be part of this work, but who are maybe not sure how to get started, or not sure how to lead their own campaign, or are throwing themselves into this and then getting burnt out. So how are we creating a system that supports people who want to grow, help them develop their skills as a leader, as an activist, in a way that helps them grow and also prevents them from burning out, so that we can have a resilient movement that has a place for anyone, regardless of their time, their abilities, anything. So making sure we are keeping an inclusive organization. I also want to talk a little bit about our sister organization, 350 Wisconsin Action. So this is legally a separate organization. We call it our sister org. This is the side where we do some of the electoral and partisan work that we cannot do as 350 Wisconsin. So our sister org, 350 Wisconsin Action, really focuses on advocacy and electoral work, all the way from hyperlocal all the way up to federal. So a lot of times if you hear us out there in the streets talking about specific candidates, we are going to be there as 350 Wisconsin Action. But we know that on the 350 Wisconsin Action side, if we're getting the right people elected, that has a direct impact on our ability to be successful in 350 Wisconsin. So technically separate orgs, but very much working towards the same goals, just in different ways. As 350 Wisconsin Action, we endorse climate champions and worked to get them elected. And then once they're elected, like I said, we're still there, making sure that they're living up to their campaign promises. So really keeping that at the center of the conversation year round. Obviously, this work gets a little bit more intense in even-numbered years, or the never-ending parade of spring SCOE elections that we're all really excited about, right? But it is year-round, every day, 365 days a year work. So I'm sure this is not news to all of you that we are, again, in an election year. And again, Wisconsin is going to be right there in the center of everything. So really keeping an eye on the same districts that keep popping up again and again. So Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District, which is most of western Wisconsin, where we have Representative Derek Van Orden, one of the most vulnerable seats in the country. So we're going to be working on that. And then we've got a lot of really critical state legislature swing districts up for grabs. So making sure that we're focusing our efforts on assembly and state senate places where we can have the most impact. And also really focusing on young voters, a lot of whom might be feeling a little bit disaffected or not seeing that their vote matters, and making sure that people understand that we can make a lot of progress at the state level if we have the right people in office. To do this, we're really focusing on building relationships, so connecting with other orgs doing similar work, connecting across different communities. So not just being in the Dane County and Madison area, not just looking at Madison and Milwaukee, but making sure we're getting out into other communities who might often get overlooked by organizers. And like I said before, really focus on expanding volunteer leadership skills. So Nikki is leading workshops, Mark is going to be leading some, we've already done a few, helping people develop the skills they need to feel confident about getting out there during an election cycle. And I think one place where we really shine, and Nikki's I think going to be talking about this a little bit later, is our deep canvassing program, where we really focus on having conversations at a personal level, connecting with people on issues that matter most to them in a way that resonates with them, instead of just showing up at the last minute and saying, hey, vote for this person. It's a really conversation-based approach. And Stephanie, I think I'm handing it back to you now.
Yeah, so once again, we just really want to thank all of you for being part of 350 Wisconsin. We're doing this work together. We couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate just everything you do to advance climate justice, support this organization, and commit your time, your resources, your passion to this critical issue.
So now we'd like to take a few minutes for some announcements and some action updates from the staff. And who's up first? Save the date. Should I just? Okay. So July 6th is the Democracy Protection Connection, how to talk to your community. This will be a training on Zoom, reclaiming the U.S. 250th anniversary and our country's ideals. So make sure you have this on your calendar. Also, August 3rd, our annual picnic, which is always a lot of fun. Next, we'll do the Volunteer Corner with Nikki.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nikki, our volunteer coordinator, and as has been said, we really cannot do this work without you. We really value all of our volunteers and everything that you do. And that said, we still have more opportunities for you or others to get involved if there's people you know who want to get involved. So I'm here with some of our top volunteer needs. Our first is our climate connectors. These are our people who are going out in the community, tabling, connecting with people, maybe handing out leaflets at the farmer's market, just finding ways to get climate into the conversation and connecting to people on that personal level. Deep canvassing volunteers are also needed. I'll be talking more about the trainings in the next slide, but our 350 Wisconsin Action is going to be setting up regional teams for places around the state where volunteers can commit to going to a specific location a couple of different times to really connect with those people and be able to build relationships in those communities. So if you are excited about finding ways to connect people to climate, that's another way to do it. The monthly meeting team is also looking for volunteers. So if you enjoy bringing people into the fold, having this open community space that we all enjoy so much, this is something where if you would like to help us find speakers and help us to run the Zoom meeting and things like that, we could use some support there. And then as always, our campaign teams are always looking for new volunteers. So you will see a slide later that has a list of all of our campaign teams and when they meet. So speaking of deep canvassing training, deep canvassing is really all about connecting with people, and it's about changing people's minds through vulnerable storytelling and empathetic listening. This is not your standard canvassing. This is about finding a way to actually humanize each other and remind people that you're talking to that you are not just a canvasser who appeared at their door and nothing else. And they are not just a person whose door you walked up to. We are full people living full lives, and we want to find ways to find common ground and shift perspectives by helping each other understand where we're coming from. And if you would like to learn more about that, I have another deep canvassing training session coming up, and it's a two-part session. The first is on June 8th, which is a Monday, and the 15th, which is also a Monday at 6:30. And the QR code here will help you register and sign up for that. I'm also going to be starting practice sessions. So for anybody who has done deep canvassing in the past and would really like to either brush up on their skills, or maybe you're new to it and you still want to get sharper at it, we will have practice sessions set up so people can do what we call making pancakes, because the first pancake is always kind of lumpy and not perfectly round. And this gives you a good opportunity to get the lumpy pancake out of the way before you actually start knocking on people's doors. All right, I'm passing it along. Unless this is still me.
Nope, this is me.
Okay.
Nikki's like, where's that voice coming from? It's me, Nikki. Hi, everyone. It's Brittany again. So some of you all may know that we are a member of the REAMP network. So the REAMP network is a member-based network that includes over 130 groups from, I believe, 10 states across the Midwest. And the goal of the REAMP network is to set collective strategy and enable collaboration on climate solutions in the Midwest. So as part of that network, we had the opportunity to apply for one of their funding cycles, a grant that they had available. And they call them action teams. So you submit a proposal for an action team. And we submitted a proposal that really uplifts our youth leadership development program. We got the grant and we are working through that program right now. And we're partnering with Our Streets Minnesota and Climate and Energy Project. So as part of our youth leadership development program with them, we're hosting a series of virtual workshops this summer that are focused on sustainable organizing. So this is really more so focused on young climate leaders, but anybody is welcome to the space. So if you want to learn more about how to plan and run an effective, inclusive, community-centered campaign for positive change, you can join us on Wednesdays at 6 to 7:30 p.m. Central from June 10th to August 19th. And I have a list on the screen there that shows all of the different workshops we're going to be doing. You can sign up for the entire series or just pick the ones that you're interested in. And for the folks online, I will put the link to register in the chat. And please feel free to share this with any young climate leaders that you feel might be interested. We've been sending some emails out as well as posting on social media. So those are great ways to share.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen Clark. I'm the development manager here at 350 Wisconsin. And we're really excited about our summer of events, or our events of the summer. My apologies. It's a very Monday. But throughout the summer, starting this month in June, we have some really lovely community events that will allow people to gather in person and share a drink or share some pizza, some delicious bites of food, and really just build our community together and have that connection that really makes us more resilient to the burnout and things like that, and just get to enjoy each other's company. So our first one is coming up quick here. That's Pizza for the Planet at Ian's Pizza at the Garver Feed Mill. That's June 17th. That's a Wednesday, 5 to 9. You don't have to make dinner that night if you're in the Madison area. You can just come grab a slice. Then in July, we have our Old Brick Beer Garden benefit event, which is July 21st. And then just a little bit after that, we have our annual picnic, August 3rd. And then later in August, our Delta Beer Lab benefit night. So these are some really wonderful events. We hope to see you at as many as you can. And we're really excited to be doing these events in collaboration with some really generous local businesses who would be donating a portion of the sales to support our work. So if you're in the area, we would love to see you there. And yeah.
Can everyone hear me now? Perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Mark, and I'm here to talk about an upcoming training that we're really excited about. We're calling it our Candidate Accountability Training. The focus is on trying to get people comfortable going to upcoming campaign events. It's really a critical year. I know that a lot of really horrible things are happening, but we also have an incredible opportunity coming up soon for new leadership at the state level and new opportunities to really make change in the state. And we want people to be able to go to events and connect with who might be their potential representatives, to try and give them an opportunity to ask questions about key climate issues that matter to them, whether it's data centers or public transportation or issue of justice or democracy. We want them to be able to go and connect with candidates. So at this training, we want to show folks, it's an informal training, but just getting people comfortable. How can you ask questions that will get candidates really thinking about, the priorities that you want them to consider and get them on the record on key issues to really get them on the record so that next year when we want to pass sweeping reforms, we'll have commitments on hand. So it is this Thursday or next Thursday, June 11th. Encourage everybody to go. It is virtual, so anyone across the state can access it. That's all for me.
So here are the upcoming team meetings and contacts, and you're welcome to contact any of the leadership for these teams. Okay, and now I want to introduce Kirsten, who will talk about the tribute to Kelly Kearns.
Thank you. Thanks, Marion. Thanks, everybody. Well, this is a hard piece, but I appreciate being the one to be able to do this. Yeah. So we want to speak about Kelly. A couple people are going to share for the next maybe 8 to 10 minutes. And we just want to recognize the contributions that she's made to 350 and to our community in general. So many of us knew her in a variety of ways and lots of different capacities. tonight, the folks who knew her really well will each spend about a minute reflecting on her. And you might have heard the song at the beginning. It's called Blue Boat Home. This was one of Kelly's favorite songs, and the man who wrote it was here this past weekend and sang it at our UU church. And yeah, it's the idea that we all live on this blue boat of a planet, and we're on the giant universe, and we're floating along, and we have to take care of our planet. We have to respect it, and yeah, and for that we get to enjoy it and have lots of adventures. And as you see in the photos, Kelly was a big adventurer, and a lot of my memories of her are out there on the river or hiking or camping together. So the last line of that song is making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. So we're going to take about 20 seconds and just have a moment to think about her and all her contributions to 350 that we know. So, first person who would like to make a statement is actually Diane, and she's not here, so I will make Diane's statement. This is Diane Barkarsh, who's been part of, there she is right there. We missed Kelly. This was a picture from 2024 when she was in the hospital. She was supposed to be one of our devils, and she wasn't there, so we danced in her honor on the square. Diane says, when I first met Kelly, she struck me as a no-nonsense, rather serious person. When I saw her at 350 meetings and at different events, I saw that she was a jump in and get it done kind of person. Whether volunteering to table while wearing a critter hat, picking up trash, or washing dishes somewhere, Kelly just did it. No discussion. As I got to know her outside of 350, I began to see her playful side. She was smart and incredibly determined, but she could be coaxed to be a little silly. What a phenomenal asset to 350 Wisconsin she was. She cared so deeply about our planet. All right. Tom, do you want to say a few moments, a few words?
Well, I was asked, how did Kelly get attracted to 350? And I would have to say that it was in her DNA, in her heart, to volunteer and to do service. She was involved in dozens of organizations, and her work at DNR was service. And I've been reading some of her gratitude journals, even after she got cancer. Every morning she would spend several minutes thinking of 3 things to be grateful for, and one of the things that she was very, very grateful for is to be able to work with this organization. And she loved you all. And one side of her that I just found out from Mike Mossman, who played at our wedding, was that early in the 80s, Kelly volunteered with the Wetlands Association, and she would organize dances, and that's how we met. So there was a wonderful side to her that was just playful, and yeah. So thank you all.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much, Tom. All right, Phyllis, would you like to share? I've got it right here on this phone. Can you see it? There you are.
No one told me that I would do this, so. What I remember best about Kelly is how appreciative she was of any little thing that I did for 350 projects. I was so impressed with how she kept working to stop climate change, despite knowing that she would not be with us much longer. She was an inspiration and will be sorely missed. Thank you.
All right, we have a staff person You? Okay, you got it on your phone. Okay.
So the 350 Wisconsin staff were hugely grateful to have Kelly as a part of our community. Kelly's many years of participation and service on the 350 Wisconsin Coordinating Council was greatly appreciated, and she always had great questions of the other representatives, and it was extremely clear that she had a deep interest in the work of every single person and every single team within 350 Wisconsin. She was always interested in welcoming and connecting with new volunteers. She actually attended new volunteer orientations with me, just to be able to share her experiences and get new folks excited about being here. It was always wonderful to hear her perspective and how her knowledge of plants and botany connected her hobbies, her career, and her climate work. Her knowledge and wisdom will be greatly missed.
Julia, you want to come up? You have one, or you want to use mine?
I could talk about all Kelly's gifts to the monthly meeting team. We used to work together on these monthly meetings, but I want to share a story about her wonderful gifts to the silent auction, where she would auction off her amazing expertise of native and invasive plants. And I bid on her walking around the house, but I actually used this meeting house to look at native and invasive plants. And at first she was too ill to do it that spring, but we did walk around the meeting house together in the fall, and I learned about native but very aggressive plants growing down there. And then the following spring, so last spring, because she had a garden, a lovely garden, which didn't have jumping worms in it. So she gave some plants. And so she gave some May apples I wanted and some asters. And so I planted the May apples maybe a year ago, and in July they all died. You know, it's under that tree, and there's not a lot of water. And then this spring they came up, and that was so sweet. So when you go out, you'll see the May apples under that tree. And she gave me 2 asters. She didn't know what color, she couldn't remember what color they were. The bunnies ate them, but I have more chicken wire this year, and so I'm waiting to see what color those 2 asters will be. And it's just really nice to think that a part of Kelly's garden is living on here.
Thank you. Christina, are you going to read? Oh, Susan's going to do it. Susan, the last.
Thank you. As Julia mentioned, Kelly was part of our monthly meeting team, and in fact, she was one of our leads, co-leads with Christina, and prior, I think, with Julia. And we really enjoyed working with Kelly and are grateful for her leadership and collaboration on our committee. As was mentioned earlier, she represented us on the 350 Coordinating Council. She had really thoughtful ideas about speakers to invite, and then she worked with the whole organization to compile and collect like different announcements, different ways to showcase and the work that's being done in the organization as a whole, and to let the community know about the work and opportunities to be involved. We learned much from her, and her memory continues to guide and inform our work. And I think many of us would say that here on all the committees, that her memory continues to guide and inform our work and inspire us. And she is and certainly will be missed. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And Susan did a lot of work organizing this tribute. Thank you, Susan, for that. So did Marion. Okay, I'm going to finish with a short poem by Francis Weller from his book, The Wild Edge of Sorrow. Grief and love are sisters, woven together from the beginning. Their kinship reminds us that there is no love that does not contain loss, and no loss that is not a reminder of the love we carry for what we once held close. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. And I think now Stephanie has an announcement.
So I think many of you know that Emily Park is going to be leaving us at the end of the month. We are going to miss her dearly. Her contributions have been just enormous to the organization. And so Nada and I wanted to say a few words tonight. And Nada, I think I'll turn it over to you first.
Yeah, I could go on forever, but I'm gonna try to be a gangster and not cry. So if this is a little abridged, that's why, Emily. I cannot describe the beautiful soul that Emily is, and I don't think I've ever told her just her impact on me. This work is really tough, and both our executive directors do such a good job of enduring it and inspiring us as a board of directors. And Emily specifically brings this humor and this lightness that I has just benefited me so much. So Emily, in everything you do and your adventures ahead, I know that you are going to bring the same lightness and the same joy and responsibility and hard work. And whatever org adopts you next is so, so lucky to have you. And I sincerely hope that you stay with us in any capacity that you can. So we'll miss you very much, and I so appreciate all the work that you do and your brilliant, brilliant mind. Thank you so much, Emily.
Thanks, Nada. So I would just like to say it's hard to know where to begin. Since 2019, Emily has served in pretty much every possible role you could have at 350 Wisconsin: a volunteer, a board member, staff, co-ED, and in every single one of them, she's been such a huge asset and a force for good. Okay, well, she's coming back as an intern. Emily is one of those people who does everything well. Whether it's talking to the media, shaping our youth leadership development program, representing us in coalition spaces, she's so talented. She's also really helped to foster a welcoming, supportive organizational culture, and she's connected us with so many groups across the state and beyond, just connecting us with advocates, networks, really growing the notoriety of 350 Wisconsin and all the folks that we work with. We've meshed really well as co-leaders, and I've been just so grateful for Emily's partnership these past 2.5 years. And I'm definitely going to miss her sense of humor, her silly memes in the Slack channel that just make us all laugh, and help us stay grounded in these really challenging times. But I think what I'm going to miss most about Emily is her compassion, her integrity, and her deep commitment to climate justice. So let's all just say thank you to Emily and wish her well in her future pursuits. We love you. We're going to miss you. So I think that's the end of our formal meeting. If you're here in person, we're going to have some cake. Hopefully you can stick around for that. And to everyone online, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Stephanie, very much.
I didn't have my audio. Sorry, Susan.
I just said thanks so much. So I think we're all set now.